This is the news feed at noon.
Uvalde family victims continue to encounter problems related to that tragic day in May, 2 years ago, and will the relationship between our U.S. president and Israel's prime minister go closer or move farther apart? Plus, Chuck is in with your 7-day weather outlook and what we can expect Monday for the viewing of the solar eclipse. Good afternoon and welcome to the Newsfeed at noon. I'm Victor Aldana. With the eclipse just around the corner and multiple events scheduled throughout campus, Chuck brings us a sneak peek of what we can expect for this weekend.
Our current conditions are what we normally expect for this time of the year across the Metroplex. Today's high will come in just a touch above average, with all of North Texas experiencing a great day temperature-wise. Now, you can feel the anticipation in the air as we are about 72 hours away from the solar eclipse. I'll get a little more into that, and if the cloud cover or rain chances for Monday might dampen your viewing experience. That and more coming up a little later on.
The 5 TCC campuses are ready for the solar eclipse with viewing events and glasses to students on a first-come, first-served basis. Something to note, each campus will experience different lengths of time for totality. For example, South and Southeast campuses predict totality will last roughly 3 minutes, while at Northwest, the campus only lasting for a little over a minute and a half. Here on Northeast campus, you can expect about 2 minutes and 39 seconds of totality. On your screen is the website to the Collegian. Log on and find the viewing times for each campus. The Collegian is an award-winning publication serving the Tarrant County College District. Families who lost loved ones in the 2022 shooting at Robb Elementary School are fed up. They want Uvalde City Council to reject a City Commission report that essentially clears the officers who responded to the shooting of wrongdoing. But the families face more obstacles after the sudden resignation of Mayor Cody Smith. Hannah Titi reports.
It's just an ongoing one thing after another.
Uvalde parents say it's the same story every time.
Y'all keep saying, oh, give us time, give us time. You've had 2 years.
The Uvalde City Council was supposed to bring its contested investigation into the Robb Elementary School shooting up for a vote to accept or reject the investigation. That didn't happen. Instead, newly elected Mayor Cody Smith announced his resignation over health issues.
Within the last 2 weeks, we've had our police chief resign, and now our mayor has resigned.
The families do not have the ability to just simply check out and resign and go home and heal. It's forever going to be a void. Mr. Smith, we wish him the best, but unfortunately, not everybody has that same ability.
Families want the City Council to dismiss the city-funded report clearing officers of wrongdoing.
We see who's mayor pro tem now. His nephew is one of the constables that we have talked about, and you think he's going to give us a fair shake after we've been dogging on his nephew that wouldn't go in the damn classrooms?
We asked Mayor Pro Tem Everardo Zamora when this investigation will be voted on.
It's going to be up to the lawyers. Thank you.
Leaving grieving families frustrated again.
You don't work for the attorney. You don't work for the city. You work for the people that put you in that position.
President Biden's scheduled call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to test the leaders' increasingly sour relationship. It will also highlight a glaring contradiction in U.S. policy toward the war in Gaza, a conflict that potentially poses a threat to both of their political careers. Jeremy Diamond joins us now. Jeremy.
This is once again a moment of tension in that relationship between the Israeli Prime Minister and President Biden. And as we understand it, President Biden is set to make known his frustrations, his growing impatience with the way that Israel is conducting this war in Gaza with the Israeli Prime Minister when he reaches him on the phone. We know that in the past, they have expressed frustrations with each other. During the last call, Prime Minister Netanyahu was the one to express frustrations about reports in the American press about this criticism of Israel's war effort offered. That also came as Netanyahu's top political rival, Benny Gantz, had recently traveled to Washington. So we have seen points of tension in this relationship before. What is different now is that, of course, it comes just days after the Israeli military carried out these airstrikes that killed 7 World Central Kitchen workers, 6 of them foreign nationals, including 1 dual American-Canadian citizen. The Israeli military acknowledging its responsibility for these strikes, acknowledging that a grave mistake was made and apologizing for these strikes. But the question is now, as President Biden expresses these frustrations, will he actually do anything to change U.S. policy towards Israel? And so far, the indications are that he will not. We have watched as, despite the rising criticism from the White House directed at the Israeli Prime Minister, the White House has continued to support Israel's war in Gaza, has continued to send weapons and approve new weapons sales, including recently sales of F-18s to the Israeli government. So frustrations to be expressed, yes, but no overwhelming shift in U.S. policy expected.
Thank you, Jeremy. First responders in Taiwan rescued a man from a blocked highway after Wednesday's deadly earthquake. The man in this video was found unconscious at the scene and later sent to a hospital for treatment. According to the fire department, the road at the rescue site was full of rock slides, and there was still the possibility of additional rock falls. The earthquake was reported as the strongest in 25 years, killing 9, injuring over 1,000, and causing landslides and collapsed structures. Taiwan's last major earthquake was in 1999. It was a little too close for anyone's comfort. At New York's LaGuardia Airport, find out why the flight was diverted and then safely landed in Baltimore. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Mom was always very self-sufficient, but we started noticing things were off.
I was forgetting my responsibilities at work.
I told Mom we should visit a doctor.
Alzheimer's. It was hard to hear that.
Early detection gave us time to seek information and support as a family. I've never felt more connected with Mom.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
It was a shock to a Houston area father when he says his 11-year-old son came home from a religious ceremony branded. That father is now suing for over $1 million in damages. Troy Kless has the story.
Vijay Chiravu shares his reaction to the brands his 11-year-old son received.
I was shocked. I did not know how to handle it. I mean, my primary concern is for my son's well-being.
According to the lawsuit, a cultural event was being hosted at this Hindu temple off of Sinat Road in August. Attorneys claim Vijay's son, identified as TC, was branded on both of his shoulders with a hot iron rod during the ceremony without the father's consent.
This is not a ceremony that is widely used across Hinduism. This is something that's a very small sect.
Attorney Brant Stogner says TC was left with burns and an infection. They are suing the temple and its parent company, claiming underage children or parents cannot give consent for branding.
Even if TC wanted these, he could not get it.
TC wrote an impact statement shown here as part of the lawsuit. Attorneys read a portion of that statement.
Said, I had no idea this was going to happen. I feel betrayed. They did it again on my other shoulder.
The law firm is seeking over $1 million in damages. I spoke with Temple staff late this afternoon, and they tell me they do not want to comment right now. Meanwhile, this parent tells me he is trying to help his son recover.
He goes to see therapists. He's so deeply scarred.
Thank you, Troy. Federal and local authorities are investigating one of the largest cash heists in Los Angeles history. As much as $30 million was stolen from a San Fernando Valley money storage facility. The LA Times reports the burglary happened in a suburban neighborhood on Easter Sunday. The suspects broke into the building undetected and somehow got into the safe where cash from businesses across the region is stored. Both LAPD and FBI are investigating. The FAA is investigating a close call between a plane and air traffic control tower. It happened at New York's LaGuardia Airport. The Southwest Airlines plane veered off course and aborted its first approach to the airport because of bad weather. In an audio recording of the incident, the air traffic controller can be heard saying, quote, go around, continue climbing. You were not on the approach. Southwest said the flight encountered turbulence and low visibility on approach to LaGuardia. The flight was diverted to Baltimore, where it landed safely. While sentencing January 6 rioter, a federal judge blasted the man for downplaying the U.S. Capitol attack. Taylor Giannakis was sentenced to more than 7 years in prison Wednesday. He was echoed Donald Trump's rhetoric about the insurrection, saying it was overblowing during sentencing. District Judge Royce Lamberth warned of a vicious cycle. If we normalize the Capitol attack, he said the riot was a corrosive and selfish affront to the nation. A woman has been finally set free from her captor after police say she endured major trauma. The man who is accused of kidnapping her is now facing serious charges. Haley Crumbleholm has details out of Orlando. Haley.
Dash camera video shows the end of a multi-county chase that reached speeds over 100 miles per hour before this minivan collided with a raised concrete median in Orlando.
Fleeing and eluding, reckless driving, hit and run, leaving the scene.
After leading at least 3 agencies on the chase Tuesday, Walter Medina was arraigned in Orange County Wednesday, but he's facing other serious charges in another county.
All right, I'll set count 1 at $15,000. I'll state counts 2 and 3. And you also have a hold out of Hillsborough County. So even if you do post those bonds, Hillsborough County has that hold and may come pick you up.
Those charges in Hillsborough County include attempted second-degree murder, armed kidnapping, and armed false imprisonment.
His actions can only be described as horrific, and what this woman endured can only be described as a nightmare.
The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office says they got a call from a woman Monday who said she had managed to get away from Medina after being held against her will for 2.5 months.
She was being beat with a baseball bat, with screwdrivers, having bones broken, bruises, cuts to her body. I mean, she was just really enduring terrible, terrible situation at the hands of Walter Medina.
The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office says this isn't the first time that Medina has faced these kind of charges. They say Medina has served prison time for a previous false imprisonment case. Deputies secured a warrant for the most recent case earlier this week. And when law enforcement spotted Medina in Polk County Tuesday, they say he took off, ending the multi-county chase at I-4 and John Young in Orange County.
And now our only hope is that, again, he is behind bars and we are able to keep him off of our streets.
That solar eclipse is almost here, but rumbles of cloudy skies are possible for Monday afternoon. Chuck Ambrose is up next to hopefully gives us a positive look to the 7-day outlook. Keep it here.
Jason, let's go see your room.
How is it? Is it good?
How you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own, a place that I call home, this place that I call home.
Owen, when you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
We didn't know what the future would hold, but we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
We've got a beautiful day underway here in the Metroplex and beyond, with temperatures ranging from 66 in McKinney to 71 in Fort Worth. Today, we'll look for a high around 85 with winds out of the southeast at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Currently, mostly sunny and a beautiful 76. The breakdown for over the next couple of hours: by 4 this afternoon, you'll hit 82. By the time you get home from work at 6, 83. Just after sunset at 7:50, it'll hit 77 and 72 by 10 tonight. On Monday, the total solar eclipse will cross North America, passing over Mexico through Texas, and here in DFW at 12:23, partial eclipse will begin. Then, a little over an hour later, the totality begins at 1:40. By 1:42, we reach maximum totality. Then 2 minutes later, at 1:44, totality will end. We'll go back to a partial eclipse, which ends over an hour later at 3:02. Looking at our solar eclipse planner, we do have rain and clouds in the forecast for Monday. The bad news is the cloud cover is about 76%, but there is some good news in that the rain is not expected to be a factor until after 3. Your 7-day forecast: cloudy with a high of 80 Monday and a 40% chance of storms Monday afternoon and evening. And again, those storms shouldn't pop up before the solar eclipse. The low Monday night, 63. Tuesday, our rain chances increase, so you'll want to keep an umbrella handy, 71 with a low of 58. Cooler Wednesday with rain sticking around and a high of 66. Moving towards the end of the week, sunshine returns to the Lone Star State on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, with highs of 71 and 72 on Thursday and Friday, with cooler mornings in the upper 40s. Then on Saturday, we'll start off at 59 and warm up to 75. On Sunday, look for another round of showers with a high of 79. This weekend, windy tomorrow with a high of 77, sunny and 79 on Sunday.
Thank you, Chuck. Several days of hearings began Tuesday to investigate the cause and the response to those deadly wildfires that spread across the Texas Panhandle. The worst of the blazes, the Smokehouse Creek Fire, charred more than 1 million acres and stands as the largest in state history. The fires are to blame for at least 2 deaths, along with the property and cattle loss. During Tuesday's hearing in Pampa, state legislators heard from a number of experts. The state's head of emergency management told a House panel Texas does not own any firefighting planes, and he urged lawmakers to change that. Texas contracts with private companies or the federal government to get access to firefighting planes. The weather has been brutal in parts of the U.S. The storm system behind recent tornadoes, flooding, and snow is pushing east, leaving behind a path of destruction. People in some parts of Kentucky are homeless after Wednesday's tornadoes. Officials are urging drivers anywhere in the storm's wake to beware of downed trees, hiding power lines. Severe storms have already doused Pennsylvania and parts of surrounding states. Up north, there's in Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, with a blizzard warning in northern Michigan. Do you have any plans July 4th? Well, you may want to consider this. You can enter a lottery for a chance to sail aboard the USS Constitution. It is the world's oldest Navy warship. The lottery will select at random 150 people to join the crew as they set sail in Boston Harbor. You also will get a front row seat as the crew fires off a 21-gun salute to honor America's birthday. The lottery will remain open for a month. History buffs may remember the Navy ship's nickname is Old Ironsides. It got that name during the War of 1812 when British cannonballs bounced off the ship's wooden hull. Next on the news feed, a Subway customer got more than what he actually ordered. We'll tell you more after the break.
Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. As veterans, we can tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. But you've never been interested in easy. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
You know you don't have to wear your PT gear anymore, right?
It's comfortable.
So how's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because it felt like a failure. And then I realized, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine, but if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Tesla CEO Elon Musk rolled out a free 1-month subscription to the electric vehicle's premium self-driving technology. However, the offer comes months after millions of cars were recalled for the same feature. Gage Golding spoke to some drivers in Houston who were excited about trying out the new feature, while others raised concerns.
Now turn right onto Southwest Freeway.
It's no secret that Tesla's self-driving technology is still ahead of its time.
It's one of those things that sounds like it comes from a movie.
When full self-driving cars hit the highways, it was all the rage. And today, it's still only a small percentage of vehicles. But for the next 30 days, that's changing. Elon Musk announcing this week that all Teslas capable of full self-driving will have a free month trial. A free look at the feature that can cost you upwards of $12,000.
Nah, we know that till you said somebody.
The giveaway coming at an interesting time. Just 3 months ago in December, more than 2 million Teslas were recalled, all for the same feature Musk is giving out for free. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration saying drivers might not be paying attention when autopilot is at the wheel, and that could lead to an increased risk of a crash.
Be prepared to take over at any time. That's the rules you have to play by, but the problem is not everybody's playing by those rules.
You know what I'm saying? Take naps, be on the phone, watch movies. It's all type of stuff you can do.
Yeah, that stuff. The stuff Tesla explicitly says you shouldn't be doing when you turn on autopilot, and the stuff that worries other drivers.
Some people are responsible, some people can be irresponsible.
I'm sure a lot of people probably do it.
Despite Tesla's own data saying autopilot leads to 10 times fewer crashes than the U.S. average, something could still happen, like Tesla not realizing this cop car isn't actually on the road.
See, that was an instance where it doesn't know that it thought that police officer was in the road. So the car didn't know what to do, and you see how it came to a stop? Yeah. That was an instance where I needed to take over.
While the tech is good, trust is another thing, something that could simply just take time.
I don't know how to feel about it, just car driving by itself.
In Houston, Gage Golding, KPRC2 News.
A Subway employee dealing with a rude customer is suddenly attacked. Another man was there to save the day. Griffin Gonzalez spoke to the customer who went out of his way in order to save the worker.
I felt obligated, man. I just acted, but I'm glad I did it.
Franklin resident Gabriel Pizzulo works a couple blocks from this Subway on East Hannah Avenue on the city's south side.
I do a footlong, do white flatbread.
The former wrestler comes in a couple times a week, but on March 22nd, his visit took a dramatic turn.
I had heard it from outside. I'd walked in and he was visibly assaulting, throwing stuff. I believe I saw him spit at her. And how I was raised, man, you don't do that stuff. And it was kind of go time from there.
Gabriel, seen here, says he tackled Daniel Saunders to the ground as he was trying to leave. He held him down until police arrived minutes later to make an arrest.
She didn't seem like she could defend herself in any such way. And I was afraid that he was either leaving to get something to harm her. She had said that he had threatened to kill her. I did combat sports for quite a while. So I was completely controlling. I didn't want to punch him or anything. I didn't want to hurt him too bad. So I just held him, man.
The manager is grateful that someone was there to keep his employees safe.
Luckily, he was here at the right time and the right place. And I'm very thankful that my employees weren't damaged.
And he's calling Gabriel a hero.
definitely a hero. Like, you don't have to be an ordinary person. You can be a hero anytime or anywhere, wherever you go.
But Gabriel wouldn't use that word to describe himself.
All glory to God, man, for real. And I don't feel like a hero, but I'm glad I did it.
You're watching the newsfeed at noon. Keep it here. We'll be right back.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch.
Till September.
I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs, and that's still not enough to put food on the table. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back. A missing 3-year-old boy was found safe last week, all thanks to a Florida police dog. Pamela Combe introduces us to Midnight and explains how the canine got the job done.
It's different talk.
This sweet guy deserves to be happy, especially after finding a missing 3-year-old boy Friday morning.
He was dragging me through the woods, and he wasn't going to stop.
While now it's all fun and games, when it comes to his job, Midnight gets it done. DeLand Police Corporal Damon Clark says all he had to do was give him a sniff of the 3-year-old's blanket and then send him off.
I would say we were on the ground probably 45 minutes or so, which feels like hours and hours and hours when you're being drugged behind the dog through the woods.
Corporal Clark says he was full of cuts and scrapes, but despite the challenging terrain, Midnight was successful.
He was in this little thicket of, it was very thick. The dog was actually able to get to him much quicker than I was because I'm getting caught up on vines and trees and shrubbery and stuff like that.
The 3-year-old would often play in the woods, which is why Clark says he likely wandered off, but he got lost. Thankfully, the boy had his tablet and stayed in one spot, making it easier to track him down. When Midnight found him, he was very excited.
By the time I got back there, he's licking the little boy's face and he's all over the little boy, and he's looking back at me like, hey, I got it, here it is.
And of course, Midnight was rewarded with a burger and one of his favorite toys, but none of this would have happened without the help of Clark.
I'm the dumb end of the leash, so he does all the work. My job is just to read him, read his body language, and understand what he's telling me because obviously he can't talk.
Clark helped Midnight retrace his steps whenever he lost track of the boy's scent. At one point, the dog also had to get another sniff of the blanket to make sure he was on the right track. The two work well together. Clark knows to be successful, he has to pay attention to the dog's needs.
First responders in Michigan saved the life of a toddler in the Detroit suburb of Sterling Heights. The police department received a 911 call about an 18-month-old who had stopped breathing. An officer responded to a retail store and immediately began chest compressions. Once fire crews arrived, they continued CPR and took the child to the hospital. Those quick actions saved the child's life. The officer and the Sterling Heights Fire Department will be honored for their efforts later this afternoon. That is all we have for today. Thank you for tuning in. Have a safe weekend and enjoy Monday's solar eclipse. We will see you next week.